Hello friends, I'm here to tell you a relaxing story which leads you to sleep with sweet dreams. Let's start our new story. The night had a softness to it, as if the sky itself had wrapped the world in a velvet blanket stitched with silver threads. In the heart of the quiet valley, beyond the fields of whispering grass and the slow, winding river, the dreaming forest stirred in its slumber. The leaves shivered with a secret, and the old trees, wise and kind, leaned in close to one another as if sharing a story too ancient for human ears. It was on such a night that the stars began to fall, not with the loudness of thunder or the fierceness of storms, but gently, like petals drifting from a flower, glowing trails painting the dark heaven. Little Mira, who had often dreamed of magic, sat at her window wrapped in a quilt stitched by her grandmother's careful hands, her breath caught in wonder. She had never seen the sky move like this before. The stars were not simply falling, they were dancing. Spiraling and spinning in loops of silver light, they seemed almost alive, twirling in patterns Mira could almost understand, as though they were writing a message across the night. One tiny star, brighter than the rest, broke away from the swirling ribbons of light and dipped low. It shimmered with an otherworldly blue, like the color of deep dreams. Mira felt her heart tug in her chest. She slipped from her window and tiptoed through the silent house, careful not to wake her slumbering parent. Outside, the cool grass kissed her bare feet, and the night air carried the scent of sweet jasmine and fresh rain. Guided by the light of the falling star, she crossed the meadow and found herself at the edge of the dreaming forest. A place she had always been told was full of mysteries best left undisturbed. But tonight the forest seemed to hum with a welcome. The trees, tall and ancient, parted their branches like open arms, and Mira stepped inside. Soft glows floated between the trunks, tiny lights that looked like stars caught in the leaves. The deeper she walked, the more the air shimmered around her, as if she had crossed into a world stitched together by dreams. Then there it was. Nestled in a patch of soft moss, the fallen star pulsed like a living harp. It wasn't hot as Mira had feared. Instead, it was cool and tingling to the touch, like a fresh breeze after a long day. As her fingers brushed against it, a quiet whisper filled her ears, a voice as soft as the rustle of leaves, as steady as the river's song. "You are the one," it said. "The dreaming forest has chosen you." Mira's eyes widened. Chosen for what? Before she could ask, the star melted into a pool of silver light, wrapping around her like a cloak. The world tilted, and she felt herself lifted, not off the ground, but deeper into it, as though she were sinking into the roots and rivers, into the heart of something far greater than she had ever known. And all around her, the forest began to wake. The trees shifted, their bark glowing faintly. Hidden creatures blinked open, sleepy eyes, and the flowers that usually stay closed until morning began to bloom under the starlight. Somewhere ahead, in the very oldest part of the woods, a low, beautiful song rose, a sound like 1,000 dreams woven into a single melody. Mira took a deep breath, her heart pounding with wonder. Her journey had begun. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the dreaming forest, now alive with 1,000 tiny lights. Mira continued her journey, feeling a sense of wonder and quiet curiosity that pulled her deeper into the heart of the woods. Every step seemed to carry her further away from the world she knew, into a realm of ancient magic where everything was possible. The path curved along the river bend, its water flowing with a soft melodic gurgle. The moonlight danced on the surface, creating ripples of shimmering silver that seemed to mirror the stars above. Mira paused at the water's edge, entranced by its beauty, and knelt to touch the cool water. As her fingers skimmed the surface, the reflection of the trees seemed to flicker and change, as if the river itself was alive with its own stories. From the shadows, a voice drifted toward her, low and rich, like the sound of a wind blowing through a canyon. It was a voice full of time, full of wisdom, as though it had been waiting for her. "What brings you here, little one?" the voice asked. Mira's heart skipped a beat. She looked around, her breath catching in her throat. The voice had come from nowhere, yet it felt as if it came from everything. She glanced toward the massive willow tree that stood beside the river, its long, graceful branches swaying gently in the breeze. Its bark shimmered faintly, almost as if it was made of silver thread. And there, nestled within the branches, she saw it, a face ancient and wise, carved into the trunk of the tree itself. Mira gasped. The face, though not alive in the way she understood it, seemed to smile down at her, its eyes twinkling with a warmth that made her feel "Are you the one speaking?" she asked, her voice trembling with awe. "I am," the willow tree replied, its voice deep and resonant, like the earth itself had given it a voice. "I have watched over these woods for centuries, guiding those who seek. You have crossed into the realm of dreams, little one, and now you are part of this story." Mira's heart pounded in her chest. She couldn't believe what was happening. A talking tree, a living forest, and stars that fell from the sky. It all felt like a dream, but it was too real, too vivid to be anything but the truth. "But why me?" she asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "Why did the forest choose me?" The tree's branches swayed gently, and a soft melodic sigh seemed to drift through the air. "The dreaming forest has its reasons," the willow tree replied. "Not everyone who wanders here is chosen. The stars, the night, the magic, they called to you. You have a heart full of wonder, and your spirit is light enough to see the truths hidden in this world. You will discover more, but you must listen carefully, for the forest speaks in whispers." Mira nodded, feeling the weight of the tree's words settle into her heart. She had always felt as though there was more to the world, something hidden just beyond the veil of ordinary life. And now in this magical forest she had found it. "What must I do now?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper as she felt the enormity of the forest's power around her. The willow's branches moved again, this time brushing lightly against her cheek as if offering a gentle caress. "Walk deeper into the heart of the forest," the tree said. "There are many wonders yet to be discovered, but remember this. Every path leads to something new, and every step you take is part of the story you are meant to live." With those words, the willow tree fell silent, its eyes twinkling one last time before the face seemed to melt back into the tree's bark. Mira stood still for a moment, her thoughts swirling in a quiet dance of wonder. She wasn't sure what awaited her, but she felt a deep sense of peace settle in her heart. Taking a deep breath, she turned toward the path ahead, ready to follow the whispers of the dreaming forest wherever they would lead. Mira walked deeper into the forest, the air around her thick with magic and the quiet hum of the world awakening. Each step she took seemed to bring her closer to a hidden mystery, one that shimmered just beyond the veil of reality. The forest felt alive, as if the very ground she walked on held secrets that had been passed down for centuries, waiting to be discovered by someone with the heart to see them. The path twisted and turned, guiding her through a tapestry of silver-lit trees and soft whispering winds. The shadows of the ancient oak stretched long across the ground, their roots like gentle fingers reaching into the earth, cradling the secrets of time. It was here, in the quietest corner of the forest, that Mira saw it, the sleeping willow. It was unlike any tree she had ever seen. Its massive trunk was thick and gnarled, covered in smooth silver bark that seemed to glow faintly in the moonlight. Long graceful tendrils of weeping branches hung low, brushing the ground like a veil, their edges kissed by the soft light of the stars. Beneath the willow's canopy, the air seemed cooler, almost as if it were woven from the very fabric of dreams. As Mira stepped closer, she noticed something even more incredible. Along the branches of the tree, tiny glowing orbs hung, casting gentle light that illuminated the space around her. The lanterns danced softly in the breeze, their light flickering like the stars themselves had been caught in the branches. They were not ordinary light. No, these lanterns seemed to pulse with life, casting patterns of light and shadow on the ground, creating a dreamlike dance that felt both familiar and strange. Mira reached out tentatively, her fingers brushing one of the lanterns. The moment she touched it, a soft warmth spread through her fingers, as though the light itself was made of something more than just fire. It was a light that didn't burn but embraced, like the glow of a loved one's touch. "What are these?" Mira whispered, marveling at the strange, beautiful light. Unknown, from deep within the tree, a soft voice echoed, so gentle it seemed to come from the air itself. "These are the lanterns of the sleeping willow," the voice said. It was the same voice that had spoken to her earlier, but now it seemed as though it was carried on the wind, blending with the very essence of the forest. They are the keepers of dreams, the guardians of memory. Each lantern holds a story, a wish, a forgotten hope from someone who has walked this path before you. Mira stared at the glowing orbs, her eyes wide with awe. "Stories? Wishes?" Yes, the tree replied. "Each lantern is a vessel for the thoughts, dreams, and desires of those who have crossed through this forest in search of answers. Some are wishes left behind by travelers, Others are the dreams of creatures who have wandered here long before. If you listen closely, you can hear their stories, their hopes, and their fears swirling in the glow. Mira stood still, her heart heavy with the weight of these words. She had always believed that dreams were fleeting, moments of fantasy that disappeared with the morning light. But here in the heart of the dreaming forest, she realized that dreams were more than that. They were real. They had substance. They had lives of their own. As she reached out to touch another lantern, a soft voice filled her mind. Not spoken aloud, but somehow heard deep inside her thoughts. "Do not be afraid," the voice said, gentle and reassuring. "The lanterns are here to guide you. They carry the wisdom of the forest, the wishes of those who came before, and the dreams of the future." Mira closed her eyes, taking in the quiet, peaceful energy of the lanterns. Each one seemed to pulse with a rhythm that mirrored her own heartbeat. She could feel the pull of something greater, something that had been waiting for her to come closer. "What should I do?" she asked softly, her voice barely a whisper, as if afraid to disturb the delicate harmony of the moment. "Follow the light," the tree's voice replied. "Let the lanterns guide you to the heart of the forest. There you will find the answers you seek." With those words, Mira stepped forward, her feet light as if the very air around her had lifted her spirit. The forest, the stars, the river, the creatures that roam the woods, they are all bound together by this song, by the magic that flows through the earth, and you, Mira, are a part of it. The fireflies' lights flickered one last time, and then the clearing grew quiet, the song fading into the background like the last notes of a beautiful dream. Mira stood still, her heart swelling with a sense of peace and understanding that she couldn't fully explain. She felt connected to the forest, to the fireflies, to everything around her. She felt as though she had been given a glimpse into the soul of the world itself. With a deep breath, she turned toward the path ahead. The forest had many more secrets to share, and she knew that she was only just beginning to understand the magic that lay hidden in the heart of the dreaming forest. As Mira walked through the heart of the dreaming forest, the air seemed to grow heavier, as though it was charged with anticipation. Each step she took was echoed by the whisper of leaves, the rustle of unseen creatures, and the soft murmur of the wind. The trees around her had grown even taller, their trunks reaching high into the sky, their branches intertwining above her to create a canopy of green and gold. The light filtered through the leaves in soft beams, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor that shifted and danced with the movement of the wind. The deeper she moved into the forest, the more the world seemed to hum with magic. It was as if the very ground beneath her feet was alive, vibrating with the pulse of the earth. The air and the stones seemed to speak in a language she could almost understand, a language of ancient wisdom and forgotten dreams. For the first time since she had entered the forest, Mira felt a sense of purpose fill her. The whispers of the trees, the lanterns of the sleeping willow, and the secret song of the fireflies had all led her here to this very moment. She had come to the heart of the forest, the place where all the magic, all the life converged. And yet she didn't know what she was supposed to find. The path before her split into two directions, one leading deeper into the thicket, the other toward a sparkling stream that glimmered under the moonlight. For a moment she hesitated, unsure which path to take. But as she stood there, something in her chest stirred, a quiet voice whispering that the answer lay not in the path she chose, but in the decision itself. Mira took a deep breath and followed the path toward the stream. The sound of the water grew louder as she drew closer, a soothing melodic gurgle that calmed her heart and cleared her mind. The stream wound its way through the forest like a silver ribbon, its water clear and shimmering, reflecting the light of the stars above. The air was cool here, and the earth smelled fresh, rich with the scent of moss and damp leaves. As she followed the stream, the trees around her began to thin, opening up into a small clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a large stone, its surface covered in ancient symbols that glowed softly in the dim light. The stone was smooth and round, almost like a throne, and it sat beside a crystal-clear pool of water that seemed to pulse with light from within. Mira's heart skipped a beat as she approached the stone. It was as though the entire forest was holding its breath, waiting for her to take the next step. She hesitated for a moment, her hand hovering just above the stone, and then almost instinctively, she placed her palm on its surface. The moment her skin touched the stone, a wave of warmth surged through her. as if the very essence of the forest was pouring into her. The symbols on the stone glowed brighter, their light filling the clearing and casting long shadows that danced across the tree. Mira closed her eyes, overwhelmed by the sensation of connection, of being part of something greater than herself. A voice not unlike the one she had heard before filled her mind. It was calm and deep like the sound of distant thunder, and yet it was soothing in its resonance. "You have come to the heart of the forest, Mira," the voice said. Here the magic of the world is born, and here the path of your journey will unfold. The forest has waited for you, as it waits for all who seek to understand the deeper truths of life. You are part of this magic, part of the forest soul, and you must listen closely now, for the answer you seek lies within you. Mira stood still, the warmth of the stone still radiating through her, and slowly she understood. The heart of the forest wasn't just a place she had reached physically. It was a part of her. She had come here to discover the truth about herself, to understand the dreams and hopes she carried within her heart, and to connect with the world. The journey she had begun wasn't just about the forest, it was about the journey within. The voice continued, its tone gentle, yet filled with an undeniable power. You must listen, Mira, to the voice of your heart, for it will lead you where you need to go. The path is never straight and the way is never clear, but within you lies the wisdom to follow the light that will guide you. Trust yourself and trust the magic of the forest, for it will always be with you. As the voice faded, Mira opened her eyes, feeling a deep sense of peace and understanding. The forest, the stones, the water, everything around her was connected, and she was a part of it. She was not just a traveler passing through. She was a part of the living, breathing magic that surrounded her. With a quiet smile, she took a step back from the stone and looked around. The clearing was still, bathed in the soft light of the stars. And in that moment, Mira knew that whatever lay ahead, she was ready to face it, guided by the magic of the dreaming forest and the whispers of her own heart. The quiet peace of the forest wrapped around Mira like a soft, comforting blanket. After what felt like an eternity of discovery and wonder, she finally stood at the edge of the dreaming forest, where the trees gave way to a soft, golden meadow that seemed to stretch endlessly beneath the glowing moonlight. The air here was different, lighter, and filled with the scent of flowers blooming in the quiet stillness of the night. Mira felt the weight of everything she had learned in the forest settle within her, the magic of the trees, the songs of the fireflies, and the whispers of the heart of the forest. She had come so far, not just in distance, but in understanding, in connection with the world around her, and with the deepest parts of herself. The journey had been long, but it was not the end. It was only the beginning. As she stood there gazing at the meadow before her, a soft breeze stirred the grass, carrying with it the gentle sound of distant chimes. She looked up, her eyes tracing the stars above her, each one a tiny spark in the vast, endless sky. For the first time since she had entered the forest, she felt truly at peace. She had found something inside herself that she didn't know was there, a strength, a calm, and a knowing that she was exactly where she needed to be. Mira slowly turned her gaze back toward the heart of the forest, where the trees seemed to beckon to her, their branches swaying gently in the night air. She felt no fear, no anxiety about leaving this place, for the forest had given her something far more valuable, the ability to trust herself, to trust the path that was unfolding before her. She knew now that the journey of life was not always about reaching a destination, but about the experiences and wisdom gathered along the way. The forest had shown her that the answers she sought were not outside of her, but within, and that the world around her was alive with magic and possibility. Every step, every choice, every path she took was a part of her journey, and there was no need to rush. She had time to explore, to grow, and to discover. As Mira took a deep breath, the quiet stillness of the meadow wrapped around her like a gentle hug. The moonlight bathed the world in silver, casting long shadows on the soft grass. The stars above twinkled like 1,000 tiny eyes, watching over her as she stood at the crossroads of her life. It was then that she heard it, the softest, most beautiful sound, like the distant hum of a lullaby. It came from the direction of the forest, a sound carried by the wind, like the voices of the trees whispering their blessings to her. The melody was soothing, full of warmth and wrapped in love. It was the final gift of the forest, a reminder that no matter where life took her, she would never be alone. You were a dreamer, Mira, the voice of the willow tree echoed softly in her mind, its tone tender and wide. The path you walk is yours alone, but the magic of the world will always be with you. It flows through your veins, in your heart, in your dreams. Never forget that you are part of something much greater than you can see. Keep listening, keep dreaming, and the path will always reveal itself to you. Mira smiled softly, her heart full of gratitude and warmth. She took one last look at the meadow, the stars, and the dreaming forest, knowing that this place would always be a part of her, no matter where she went. It was not just the magic of the forest that she would carry with her, but the lessons it had taught her to trust, to listen, and to follow the light within. With a final breath of the cool, sweet air, Mira began to walk toward the edge of the meadow, feeling the grass brush against her feet and the earth beneath her in perfect harmony. The path ahead was unknown, but for the first time, she didn't need to know where it would lead. She had the confidence to follow it, step by step, trusting the journey. As the soft moonlight faded behind the horizon, and the gentle hum of the forest grew distant, Mira whispered her thanks to the forest, to the trees, and to herself. "Good night," she said softly to the world around her, her voice filled with peace. "Thank you for everything." And with that, she stepped into the night, her heart light and full of dreams as the forest whispered its final lullaby. Good night, Mira. May your dreams be as gentle and beautiful as the forest you've walked through.